interesting conversation is going to be, I predict in the next year, is Rand Paul rather.
Yeah, because he made that statement, right, saying, is that what you're talking about, Senator Rand Paul?
What statement are you talking about? Like, he's come out with a whole, over the past year.
Well, because he's working with the NAACP and Urban League. That's what I'm saying.
He's doing a lot of things differently than he was doing in the past. He's listening. He's traveling around the country listening to African Americans.
Right.
Rand
Paul.
Rand.
He's
Yes,
the one
ma'am.
that said.
You ought to hear this guy now.
And he's saying that that's how the GOP has a chance at African American votes, especially in the urban communities. He's the one.
You're talking about giving folks the right to vote back after they've served their time. What's wrong with that? They gotta live under decisions made by politicians. Why can't they be part of selecting the politicians? Several things he's taken a different stance on than the traditional Republican Party, and a lot of young people
and
are
they're listening to it.
what
They're
this
really
guy's
vibing
saying.
off of that.
Well, I haven't got wind of this yet.
And I'm going to tell you, what's the former chair of the Republican National Party, Steele. I forget his first name, but when he was asked this morning who would he think is going to be somebody to contend with, Rand Paul, without hesitation, he said it.
And he's doing it smart. He's pretty strategic with it.
That's good. It always makes me nervous because I'm thinking politician. But if he means what he says,
he has to win. He's got so far. He's so far from the election. The things that he's talking about, he's got to. And everybody has a right to change their mind, but we can feel people. I mean,
really, you think so? Because I thought I felt Obama, and he's very different
than what you thought. Yeah.
What I mean,
But
and different to what point? As far as what Democratic candidates are complaining about?
No, about a guy that says signing legislation that says we can put you in prison without a reason and hold you as long as we want, as long as we think you are a terrorist.
Right. Exactly.
Even if you're an American citizen.
Killings and
no, you got drones flying everywhere, killing people.
So who's the influence of that, though? Obviously, he's been influenced by that.
The buck stops where?
That's and I do believe he's been influenced, but the fact that he could be influenced in that direction makes him a different person than I thought he was. Mm-hmm. So,
So I'm going to give everybody a chance. I want to hear from Rand Paul. I want to hear from, if Mike Huckabee runs again, I want to hear from him.
Do you really?
I want him to shut up and go away.
I really don't like him. So what do you mean? What is it you want to hear from him about?
Well, I can't.
It's like Jewel, the same sentiment, right? You said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You said you want him to shut up and go away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody else. So what
didn't you like about what he had to say?
Well, I don't know why you like what he was.
He obviously had a lot of good things to say when he.
Like what?
Okay, let me. He talked about, and y'all, you're gonna make me dig back in the archives.
Well, I'm just curious as to why you're willing to hear what he has to say.
Let me think a little bit, because there were some things that he said that really kind of caught my eye, and I thought he would have been a serious contender. And then he stepped away from that and became a traditional Republican candidate.
That's the problem I have with him. Not so much what he said during the campaign, but he went right back to what was his real self after. Now I don't know, because
he came from Arkansas. Wasn't he governor of Arkansas? And he had a tremendous following with the African American community in Arkansas.
But that's just a state.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean? You play on a whole different field when you play for president. And
if you can do it small, you can do it big. If you use the same model. I think he changed his model when he left.
Well, that could be. Well, I didn't like his model after
he became
okay, so I don't like him. Let's talk about
No, after he didn't win.
Oh, when he went
when he became very conservative.
Well, then that was about money then.
Well,
because look what he's doing
I think that's beyond the money, though.
No. When Fox throws those dollar signs in front of you and you can play the guitar a little bit, oh yeah, they're gonna pay you.
No, he didn't like that. So at least he would play before a show and after a show. I can respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the best way of saying it. That's how I felt about it. And what about the other candidates, Joel? So as far as even some of the Democratic candidates that you see, what's Hillary Clinton's chances? That's one.
I don't know, but I think her chances are. I think she's kind of the default
versus Elizabeth
candidate.
Warren.
She'll be the default, but my choice would be Elizabeth Warren. And I would hope that the Democratic Party would go with Warren, but I know they're not going to because.
But Warren said she's not.
There's no.
I know she's not running, and she's saying she doesn't want to run. But I almost feel like she'd be more ideal than Hillary.
I think a lot of times people say that early on.
She's not one. She's a person of her word. She's not running.
No, that's
As
too
much
bad.
as we like for her to be there, and I think everything you just said about her makes her the kind of person that folks would follow. But she's not running, and she understands why she can't run.
And I actually understand too, because I do think, like, just like with Obama, I think once you get on that level, you have all kinds of advisors, and you have people telling you, no, you have to do it this way, and it's very difficult to stand on your own or to rebut that. So I get that she doesn't want to become part of the machine. But, I mean, at some point, we have to have someone stand up.
And be a one-term president.
And maybe even exactly be a one-term president
That's what
who
I
will
said
take
about
no
Obama.
prisoners, do what they say they're going to do, with, based on true democratic principles. And if they don't get reelected, they don't get reelected.
Well.
But you didn't go there to get reelected. You went there to burn the house down.
So out of which candidates do you really think we're going to get that, whether on the Democratic side
You're
or
not
even on
gonna
the
get
Republican
it.
side? You're not going to get on either
No.
side.
If
so
Elizabeth Warren doesn't run, we're not going to get it. And
Yeah.
if Hillary Clinton wins, we're going to be in war for the next 50 years.
only 50.
So I'm just telling you people, if Hillary Clinton wins, you just get ready now to send your sons and daughters off to
So
foreign
let me
shores.
ask you the tough question.
Ooh, number to call in is 559-442-1680. 559-442-1680.
She's more of a
I know.
hawk than
I think they're listening.
she's a hawkish. She's a Republican when it comes to
So, okay,
hawkishness.
Jeb Bush or Hillary Clinton?
Ooh.
Canada,
Ooh, another Bush.
Oh, my
the
goodness.
UK,
We can't shake those bushes up, man.
Winchester Cathedral.
All of these bushes
really feel
around
that
me.
strongly about
If
the
those
fact
are my choices, you can come see me in London.
Okay. Those bushes need trimming, boy. We keep getting a bush. Like
Yeah.
Woody was saying, we can't shake those bushes.
Yeah, I'm tired of the dynasties.
Okay.
Even if they're good, I'm tired of the dynasties.
Even if they're good, come on.
No, I mean, like, we have more than two families in America.
Okay.
But
You
what
know,
did you mean by that, man, when you said even if they're good?
Well, she said, to me, if they're good, why would you not want more of good?
What?
No, I guess I mean, I
What
don't
do
mean,
you mean? So you're
I mean
insinuating
really good. Like, I don't think Hillary would be good for the war machine, and she'd be good for, some people think, foreign policy. I don't think she would.
Big banks, finance, world finance.
Right, exactly. And good. So, if I thought she were really good for the country, I guess I'd be okay with it. But even then, I sort of, she's not the only one that's good. The Clintons and the Bushes, I mean, they're not the only ones that can run the country and be good at it. So even if she were going to be excellent, let's find another excellent candidate. Does it have to be another one of them?
So would you support someone that had greater social concerns about fixing the country as opposed to the financial end of it? What would be your preference? What would rate higher with you when you looked at a candidate for president of the United States
I'm a socialist.
during this time? Say that again.
I am a socialist.
Explanation, please.
It was awkward. I'm like, hey, you can't have silence on radio. No one can see your faces. Okay, it's not the TV. So
I'm a Marxist. I think employees should own their places that they work, or at least have a major stake in them. I think healthcare should not be, what we have now is ridiculous. And
wait a minute. Let's hold on to that view right after this break, because you said a Marxist, and I'm thinking in a Marxist point of view, it's a little bit different from my understanding of what a Marxist is.
Marxist socialist.
All right, so let's talk about that right after break, and then we'll get into the local politics. You are listening to Valley Black Talk Radio here on 1680 AM KGED. We'll be right back after this short break.
Let me tell you some of the reasons people get into trouble with credit cards. A job loss or salary cut, an unexpected expense, a divorce, a business loss, or even helping a family member or friend in need. At Consolidated Credit, we understand that debt problems are not about overspending. It's about emergencies and unexpected situations. Consolidated Credit has helped over 5 million people, just like you. The options for getting out of debt have never been better. We can reduce your interest rates, cut your monthly payments, and help you get out of debt fast. The time to call Consolidated Credit is now. There are a lot of ways to get into trouble with debt. There's only one trusted way to get out: Consolidated Credit. When debt is the problem, we're the solution.
Call Consolidated Credit now. Call 800-990-8939. That's 800-990-8939.
The Psychic Source has been giving over 1 million quality psychic readings to North American customers since 1989. Call for questions about love, relationships, careers, and more. If you're not happy with your psychic reading, it's free. That's a no-risk guarantee. Call the Psychic Source today, the oldest, most respected, and authentic psychic service available for over 25 years. Call the Psychic Source at 1-800-261-2255. That's 1-800-261-2255.
We are back, and you are listening to Valley Black Talk Radio here on 1680 AM. Today is November 2nd, 2014. My name is Julia Dudley Najib, along with Jewel Riversmith and Mel Sanders. And we're just having a friendly discussion, talking about national politics before we go into some of our local politics. I know, Crossfire. In fact, call in about the Crossfire if you'd like, 559-442-1680. That's 559-442-1680. But I know what's happening, Joel. People are just listening, because I know they are. They're like, oh, did you hear what she said?
Yeah.
Exactly. And so they listen
and
in.
some heads
and
are spinning.
They're spinning, all right. And then a lot of people will text myself or Mel. I don't know if you get the text messages. They'll text you after the fact. And we want to let people know they can also respond on our blog, vbtradio.org. We do have a blog, vbtradio.org. And don't worry, because Jewel and Mel will be logging in to also state their comments this week. So that way you can respond to vbtradio.org.
Yes.
So as we were saying, you're talking about your point of view as a Marxist socialist, right?
Yeah.
And you were explaining it from the standpoint of an employer, but usually an employer Marxist socialist would be a little bit different. That means they are helping with healthcare. They are helping with the employee, how it is that they are actually caring.
Well, right.
Okay.
And I want to qualify this saying that I haven't done a whole lot of study, but I never miss Economic Update, and that is one of the best shows on radio. Can I say that? Since it's on a...
Well, you just did, so that doesn't matter now.
Check out Dr. Richard Wolff.
Okay.
That's who I listen to.
Oh, yeah, I know that guy. Yeah.
And I've seen him speak live
excellent.
twice, and he makes so much sense when he talks about employees owning the business, or at least having major interests in the business.
So kind of like Winco. Winco is an employee-owned business.
Exactly. It talks about businesses all over the world where the employees are the major shareholders. They make the main decisions. They have, you don't even really need a union, right? Because we own the business. So
I have
if
to
it
agree
comes
with
to
you on
who's,
that.
the next president that's going to be hired, or the CIO, the employees make those decisions. And of course, when it comes to healthcare, I'm totally
they're also
socialist.
part of the shareholders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so that I just wanted you to explain
That is the problem I have with the healthcare law. It should have been, it should have just been expanded Medicare and Medicaid. It should not have been. I realize that, perhaps one man, even Obama, can't do it in one term.
Why not?
Well, because as he says, this is the system we have now, and we have to try to work through this system.
But he never
We should get
entertained
rid of. That's
any
true.
other,
He never even
options.
invited them to the table.
Yes, matter of fact, he made sure they were specifically excluded.
Exactly. And
So-
and I do have a problem with that.
And that just that was the final point for me to let me know that this ain't our guy. Because he had to know that healthcare is important to everybody, and there was a lot of inequity in healthcare in this country.
Yeah,
But,
and
you know,
it shouldn't be a commodity.
And then when you look at the fact that coming from his background, and maybe that may not be the problem, but he had to recognize the unlevel playing field.
Well, see, I think he did, but I think, for one thing, he did it in his first term. I think maybe if he had waited, he would have been a little stronger. Maybe.
No
his
way.
own sense of what he could
Only
accomplish.
if he could have changed this.
Well, Mel is
since
holding
he
up
could
his
not-
brown hand, folks.
Since he couldn't
I know
change that.
this. I'm like, you see, we're not on television. He forgets.
No, everybody understood
This
what
part
I meant.
is radio.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got that
All
real
right.
clear.
But in case,
Yeah.
it's okay, they'll be able to watch it on the internet, because if they go to vb2radio.org, you can see these clips online.
Oh man, I
And
gotta
you,
comb my boss.
well, you can't comb it now. We do see you wiping it, and I'm actually showing you doing that. So,
Oh my goodness.
as you were saying.
I don't know. I think he was in such a hurry to get it done that he didn't do it the best way. And I think if he had waited until his second term, perhaps he would have had a little more sense of self.
I disagree. I think had he come out for the full shebang the first time around when he had a Democratic Senate and a Democratic Congress and to his advantage, he could have muscled it through with universal health care and then let the chips fall where they may. You're not going to be reelected. Oh, well.
Yeah, well, I wish he had done that.
But the second term was more important, right?
Why?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying that's his
Not
thought
yelled
process,
at.
right?
I'm sorry, folks.
No,
didn't mean to
it's
bust
funny
your
that
ears
you
down.
said the why, because I know we were talking about even local politicians here, which we're going to be talking about shortly. They get into their second term and they sit back and they become the typical politician.
So
Boy,
again,
you're sure leading down the track there, boy.
yeah. So do we get back to
Very
term
good.
limits?
Sure.
Because if you
This
know,
brings me back to the term limit.
if you know that you're only going to be there for 1 or 2, and I mean,
But that's part of the problem because let's keep going.
Yeah, okay,
We're
we
gonna
can get
make
to
that
this debate because
connection
my
here.
issue with that, no, we need to talk about it right now because
Okay,
even on the
okay.
second term limit that certain individuals sitting right now, what are they doing?
Looking to see if they can prosper from where they are to where they're gonna go outside of when they leave the government job.
But why weren't they
Had
focusing
but
on
if it was
now
not term limits, they could say, "Well, I'm going to stay here for another."
and sit and do nothing? Like
Well,
some of
no,
them have,
no,
yes,
no,
that's what
because
some
you
of
still
them
have
have
to
done.
see-
or
Tool.
cultivate
Especially-
more big money spenders.
Right.
Yeah, they won't do nothing. They'll do what their paymasters tell them to do if they stay in office. You know, if they.
No,
if
I
they
don't know.
Because the
I'm
real
still stuck on this
controllers
because
are still the
I still
people.
think that some of the, even when we talk about the city council, some of them need to take economics 101 and learning how to run a city, run a county. They need to know all those facets. And I think that becomes part of the problem. So, okay, term limits, fine, with the city council, but at the same time, they need to know what they're doing. And a lot of them are playing catch up within the first 2 or 3 years, sitting back trying to figure out how this process works.
actually,
My
they
thing
don't
is
have to do anything.
well, they still need to know
Because
politics.
they have
They still, I mean, the
people on their
economics.
staff and in departments that do that for them, and they are the ones that perpetuate the continuance of what's wrong with government now. Not necessarily the politician, because most of them, like you said, they don't know. They haven't done the heavy lifting or the studying. They depend on their staff to do that for them and to make me look good when we go to the meeting. I need to say the right things that are going to, and when that camera's on, I'm going to look like I'm a shining star. Because, after all, I've only got 2 terms. And so
But I think that's the problem. There should be specified goals for that, right, Jewel? There
Well, that's
should
the
be
community's fault then. That's not the.
I
that's
don't know
people.
about that.
I don't
Oh,
even like the
yes.
idea. I think Mel is correct, but that's another problem I have with politics. I'm with Julia. You need to know how
Now
this
wait a
job
minute. You
runs.
with me? You with her? What-
No.
what
Well,
you
no,
with?
I agree with you that that's what happens. They go to their staff.
I know. Because we're going to get this point across. What were you saying, Jewel?
I think that Mel is accurate in his depiction. Yeah, they get, elected to whatever the office is, and they rely on their staff who has been there, right? To
Exactly.
keep them up
The
to date, tell them
bureaucrats.
what you need to say and how you need to say it. The
Exactly.
problem I have with that is that's why we have the system that we do.
So
right?
shake that
we have,
up.
It's
well, okay, but I'm
dysfunctional.
saying,
Shake that
so
up.
we have people who say, oh, no. You have got to send these drones to Afghanistan. I know, I've been on the Armed Forces committee for you have to do this. And then you have the person who's really in control, the person who's supposed to be in power, saying, well, gee, he's been here a lot longer than I have. Maybe I ought to take it. No, you
where does
need to do
common
your
sense
own
prevail?
homework and your
Yes.
own study so
Exactly.
that you tell other people, you know what, it's one thing to have advisors, but advisors shouldn't be running your show.
But that's how it is in
And I
every
think that's
facet
what
of
often-
government
I know,
across this
And
nation.
that's why
It's
our system is
unfortunate.
dysfunctional.
And that's why
Yeah.
you should change the people who work, the bureaucrats, more so than I believe the politicians. Because the people behind the curtains are the ones that are pulling the strings.
Oh.
And they are civil servants who stay there forever. You can't fire them.
So we need to do them like we treat teachers, which
Oh,
is awful.
right.
But I'm so
Wait a
every
minute,
at the end of every term, right? They
They get a pink slip.
They get a pink slip.
Yep.
The support staff
Yep.
gets a pink slip.
Everybody gets a pink slip.
Now, wouldn't that be
Make it
something?
fair. Make it fair for everybody.
At the end of every congressional
Oh, and
session,
then you
you
decide
give
who you
all
keep
of
and who
the
you-
you give them all a
Okay.
pink slip,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
you do teachers, which again is terrible.
Yeah.
And then maybe you bring them back,
But then
and maybe you
nobody's
don't.
going to run for office.
Oh,
Because
No,
Now,
I'm talking about
I know
the
what you just
yeah,
said,
okay.
but the other side of that
advisory
is
staff.
the brain saying, we're not going to do anything. So the guy sitting in that front seat said, well, wait a minute. I don't know what to do.
Now
So-
somebody will
boy,
always run for
as
office.
the debate gets hot, and we're not even done yet. We still got to talk about what's happening in Washington Union District. So maybe after the break, we'll be able
Yeah.
to discuss that. You are listening to Valley Black Talk Radio. We'll be right back.
This is important news for women diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Talcum powder may have caused your ovarian cancer. According to many studies, long-term use of talcum powder in products such as baby powder or shower-to-shower for feminine hygiene is linked directly to ovarian cancer. If you are an ovarian cancer victim or if a loved one died from ovarian cancer after using talcum powder, call the law offices of Davis & Crump at the number below right now to find out if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now.
Happy lives. They can change in an instant. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, it can shatter your life. If you're currently in a lawsuit but need money right away, can you afford to wait years for your suit to settle? Now you can get the money you need in as little as 24 hours from Oasis Legal Finance. You may have medical bills, rent to pay, car payments, even simple day-to-day expenses. You need help now. At Oasis, there are no out-of-pocket fees, no payments until your case settles, and no obligation to repay if you do lose your case. So there's absolutely no risk. Call Oasis right now to see how much money you could get before your case settles. Once approved, Oasis can get you your cash in as little as 24 hours. The sooner you call, the sooner you can start putting your life back together.
Don't wait. Call Oasis Legal Finance at 1-800-326-9772 right now.
Welcome back to Valley Black Talk Radio here on 1680 AM KGED. Today is November 2nd, 2014. And my name is Julia Dudley Najib, one of your hosts, along with Jewel Rivers Smith and Mel Sanders. And we want to let people know that this program has been brought to you by Brian Pacheco, who is a candidate for Fresno County Supervisor District 1, who believes in safe schools, safe communities and neighborhoods, and also middle-class jobs. And also the awakened few. And the awakened few are always awakening our minds to something that we didn't think about.
And here's another eternal thought from the awakened few.
Thank you.
20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones that you did do. So throw off the bow lines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. That's a quote from Mark Twain, brought to us by the awakened few.
Wow, isn't that ironic? So Mark Twain, huh?
Mark Twain had girlfriends too, huh?
This has
Had
nothing to do with
girlfriends?
girlfriends?
He said 25 years from now, you wish that you'd done what you should have done and you didn't do it. And all. So, yeah.
I just got that. Okay. You went over
And I'm really feeling that. That's to my good girlfriend
I know, right? Mark
who is
Twain.
going to be leaving.
You know, he just took that whole quote to a different level. But we like to thank the awakened few. Totally. But we would like to thank the awakened few and also Brian Pacheco for
Yes.
sponsoring this edition of Valley Black Talk Radio.
He mellified that.
Totally. He mellified it to a whole nother level. Mellified. So I know we were having a very crispy, I say crispy because it was fire up around here in the studio and where we left off at. And I know we'll have to have that part of the discussion maybe at the latter end of the program. But I want to make
Where
sure
did we leave off?
we were talking about the term limits, and you were upset that
Oh,
Jewel was
yeah,
taking my
yeah,
side as
yeah,
you thought
yeah,
it
yeah,
was.
yeah. The first one on
And
my side, then she said,
that's-
I
but
agree
that's
with you.
the-
I understand
no,
that point.
But
about
that's
it.
not what she was
Yeah.
saying. You took it wrong.
I'm saying you were right in your depiction, but I say we give pink slips
Right.
to
Make- you
staff.
know, rattle things up a
We
bit.
all agreed on that because
Yeah.
that's what I said. Well, that's where the real problem is. The problem is in
The
the
entrenched.
bureaucrats, the
Right.
folks who are actually behind the curtains, who do the day-to-day things. The politician is the window dressing. And they give them the script, they go out and they read it, and if there's one particular thing they may be passionate about, they may be on top of that, but that's not nearly the entirety of their job. And so they wind up depending on staff to do the other things that have to be done, and staff does what's easy for them.
So when you have a candidate the candidate has usually at least one principal advisor. Let's say they have an axelrod. I'm making a noun out of that. I'm just creating words tonight.
Yeah.
I'm nounifying axelrod.
Okay, all right.
So they have an axelrod.
Okay.
When they actually get elected, do they usually keep their axelrod? Because
Depending
Obama
on
did
the
for the first
level.
4 years.
You take a city council person,
Mm-hmm.
they will have an assistant, or they have a budget where they could hire an assistant and maybe a couple other people in there to do some of the other things. But primarily, they depend on department heads to give them the information that they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis in the function of their jobs.
Okay, but wouldn't it be wiser to have the functionaries, for lack of a better word, the bureaucrats?
You are making up words tonight, boy. Okay. Go ahead.
No, that's actually a word.
I don't know what you said.
to have the bureaucrats. See, what I would do is have them talk to my advisor, not to me directly. Don't look me in the eye.
Well, they do that.
and then let my advisor, who I trust, and by the way, I've done my own homework, and then have my advisor tell me what he or she thinks I should do based on the information he got from them. But I'm just saying they're about representing the office. My advisor is about representing me.
So, the bureaucrats form a relationship with your advisor.
My
And-
advisor is fired.
But wait a minute, you don't know that off the bat. I mean, that's not going to be that
Because
blatant.
he's supposed to be helping. He's supposed
Exactly.
to be.
He's going to give you he or
Okay.
she's going to give you the best information
Okay.
that fits the narrative you just described
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the department heads getting together and saying, we think this is what's best for us to fix the roads and curbs and gutters and on the streets, and we need to do it in this manner. Let's put it on a 2-year plan or a 4-year plan, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they get that information from. That may not be in your particular best interest because probably your streets haven't been done in 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than dealing with that as a priority, now it's way down here. But your advisor says it's good because now that department and your advisor have a relationship saying, yeah, we can work this, man.
See, I
You're
don't want an
gonna be-
advisor that's that
Well, sometimes you...
malleable. You supposed to be watching my back. I want you to be friendly with the functionaries.
Yeah.
But you are supposed to be. You work for me.
Mm.
Now, if they sign your paycheck, you can tell me whatever they say. But if I'm signing your paycheck, you take what they say and you translate it into what is in my best interest.
That means I got to work.
Yeah, you gotta work, and I gotta work too.
And I'm not interested in working as a candidate. I want to go out and look good and sound good and be invited to all these things I don't have to pay for because people want me to be present and they can say they know the mayor or the councilman or the supervisor or whatever. So, I don't have to worry about the mundane things. I just have to deal with the big stuff that makes me look good.
Just
and
be
I got
where
to,
I'm supposed to be when I'm
Yes,
supposed to be there.
There it is.
Yeah,
And that's why we got what we have.
That's why we have what we have. Yeah.
So maybe we should talk about Washington Unified School District after the gospel music break.
Sure. We
Okay.
can listen to something kind
All
of
right.
soothe the
I don't
savage
know how much
beast
it'll
or something
soothe.
like that.
I really don't know how much that'll work. But Mel, lead us into it.
All right, we got it.
The Psychic Source has been giving over 1 million quality psychic readings to North American customers since 1989. Call for questions about love, relationships, careers, and more. If you're not happy with your psychic reading, it's free. That's a no-risk guarantee. Call the Psychic Source today, the oldest, most respected, and authentic psychic service available for over 25 years. Call the Psychic Source at 1-800-261-2255. That's 1-800-261-2255.
Hey, Courtney Hansen here with you for Endurance. If you're like me, you love your car, but even the best vehicles break down at some point. And when your car's warranty expires, you're gonna have to pay those repairs out of pocket. Can you believe what it costs to repair your car these days? I mean, look at these prices. I can think of so many things I would rather buy than a new fuel injector or transmission. Well, Endurance has a solution. With an Endurance Vehicle Protection Plan, we pay for your auto repairs. The parts, the labor, all of it's covered. With Endurance, you'll save thousands, and you get to choose the mechanic who repairs your car. Remember, insurance only covers you if you're in an accident, but that's just half the equation. Endurance is the other half, protecting you when your car breaks down. Insurance plus endurance equals total protection. That's my kind of math.
Protect yourself against the high cost of auto repairs with Endurance. Call right now for a free quote.
Do you have a structured settlement from a settled lawsuit? Are you currently getting regular payments from an insurance company for that settlement? To turn those payments into a lump sum payment now, call CBC Settlement Funding today. You can access all or just a portion of your settlement.
To learn more about getting your money now, call us at 1-800-307-2065 for a free, no-obligation offer. Again, that's 1-800-307-2065.
Good. You're good.
So
You're good.
anyway, the new Washington Unified School District was formed in 2010 with the merger of two elementary schools into a high school district, Union District, and this will be the first election held in 2014 to either sustain or replace board members, and I've worked with a couple of other gentlemen who are there are 4 seats actually up for election, and 3 of them are the normal seats that are up for our election. One is a special election for a candidate that resigned, a board member that resigned, and another person was appointed by the board, but the ed code says that at the next regularly scheduled election, that person must stand for re-election. Also, so there are 4 seats up for this new unified district, which means that's the majority of the seats filled up. And there are 3 of us who are running as a pact, if you will, or team. And we represent the north end of the Washington Unified District. Most folks know Washington. It's been around for 100 plus years. It's located in Eastern California. And it has an excellent agricultural program, a great nursing program, and a great opportunity for a lot of students to get away from the hustle and bustle of the big city and get some quality education. Our concern as candidates, as we've talked about, is the fact that we're looking for some equity and diversity. Because it's
And why are you addressing like the challenges then that this particular district has had in the past?
Yeah, over the years, it's known for years at the leadership level to be a good old boy network. When you look at 80% of the student population is minority, yet 80% of the leadership, higher than that, 80 plus, probably 90% of the leadership of the district is basically white. And so, with the change of the demographics in the student body, we feel like it's time for the change of our students, our leadership, not only at the board level, but also at the administration and the staffing. Kids need to see people that look like them.
Right.
It encourages them, and then you have a better balance too. And the fear factor, I believe, for the district over the past years is that nobody wants to give up power. When you have the ability to hire your own community and basically do it the way you want to do it, you pretty much get comfortable and satisfied with that. And I'm kind of disappointed because being a brand new district, it should have been higher on the radar screen. Folks should have been paying attention to this. This is something that, right across the street you have Fresno Unified, a button right up next to it, and there's a lot of interest paid to the Cal Johnson and that
that
area
seat.
1, and virtually nothing paid to 3 seats of where 3 African Americans are running that have basically the same, if not more so, political power than that single seat of the Fresno Unified area. So 3 of us are running, where 3 African Americans are running, and I said earlier, we really want to look at bringing equity to the district, having a chance to have our community be considered for the hires and promotions and those kind of things, and not be reprimanded to just doing manual labor, custodial or the janitors, which is nothing wrong with it. You got to have all those places, but we shouldn't be most populated there and least populated someplace else.
In the offices.
We need to be everywhere. Our kids need to see all of that. When they walk into a room, they need to be able to see the across the board. This is what it looks like, and this is how it should look in any school district. So our job, as I see it, is to make sure that we bring that to the forefront, and we make sure we establish that. When you're establishing a new district, that's the easiest way to do it, and the best time to do it is when you're starting a brand new district. You start the foundation right. and that's what's missing. We've not had that as a part of the agenda for the new district from 2010 forward. Excuse me.
And so you say that team, and I'll just read out the team, and you can help correct me. Of course, you, Mel Sanders, for Area 5, and Hank Hendricks for Area 6, Terrence Hawley for Area 7.
That's correct.
And this is the team that's going to help make those changes that you're talking
We're
about.
committed to bringing that forward and making that something that at least it'll be addressed. It'll be brought to the board to take action on in terms of how we do that and develop a different strategy of how we bring the total community into play in this.
How much influence does the board have in hiring? Because doesn't each school, I mean, if there's a position to be filled, the senior administrators at that institution are in charge of running the, putting the ad out, doing the candidate call, doing the interviews and stuff. So how much input will the board have?
The district and the school districts, particularly K-12, all hiring is done by the governing board. The recommendations are done by the administration, but the final hiring is done by the governing board. Normally, whatever the administration brings forward, they've done their due diligence, and so it
whatever they bring forward.
Right. And here's where that's where we're going to be talking about policy, about what you bring to us.
Okay.
And if you can explain to us more after this break, because I want to get into that detail. That's important for the listening audience to understand why it's so important, the governing board. You are listening to Valley Black Talk Radio here on 1680 AM. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned for an important message about healthcare reform.
You can spend hours searching for coverage on the healthcare exchange, or you can make a single call to Health Markets and let us do the legwork for you at no cost or obligation. Health Markets Insurance Agency searches thousands of health insurance plans on the exchange and off. We'll find you the right insurance coverage and guarantee the lowest price. Why pay more than you have to or risk going without the coverage you need? Put our free service to work for you.
Operators are standing by. Call now.
An important medical alert for men who have taken Androgel and other testosterone therapy products. Androgel and other low-T products that are marketed to treat lack of energy, decrease sex drive, and physical and emotional changes have been linked to heart attack, stroke, pulmonary embolism, deep vein thrombosis, death, and other serious cardiac events. Scientific studies indicate that the use of testosterone therapy products doubled the risk of heart attack in men over 65 and tripled the risk in younger men who have a history of heart disease. If you or a loved one took Androgel or a testosterone therapy product and suffered heart attack, stroke, pulmonary embolism, deep vein thrombosis, death, or any other serious cardiac event, you should call the attorneys of Parliament Law Firm to learn the legal options against the drugs manufacturer. Let our experienced legal team fight for the compensation and justice you deserve.
Call Parliament Law Firm at 1-800-607-4804 for a free and confidential legal consultation. That's 1-800-607-4804.
And you're listening to Valley Black Talk here at 1680 KGED. I'm Mel Sanders along with Julia Deli Najeeb and Joel Riversmith, and we're having a conversation about election issues. And before the break, before she rudely interrupted us and made us stop talking.
Sure did.
I sure did. Ready to get into some heavy debate about one of the issues about the gaming.
But before we do that, we got to make sure we recognize the sponsors of this program.
Yes,
that's so important.
Yes.
Tonight's edition of Valley Black Talk Radio has been brought to you by Brian Pacheco, who believes in safe schools, safe neighborhoods, middle-class jobs, and also the awakened few.
And I have one more eternal truth from the awakened few. We ask for long life, but 'tis deep life or grand moments that signify. Let the measure of time be spiritual, not mechanical. I just really like that one because I'm always in the moment, which is not necessarily a good thing. I don't think too much about the future.
Yeah.
But like when I'm with my friends or when I'm
but you are supposed to think
whatever.
about that when you're with your friends.
Yeah.
And you block everything out and you spend time with your friends.
And it just feels so good. It's good to be anywhere you're having a good time, and or even not necessarily having a good time. I mean, I go to funerals and stuff, and I think about all the things that made that person, and it really, it's important to be in the moment. And I think this speaks very well to that. So I really like that one.
Well, then we'd like to thank the awakened few.
Yes.
How far are you willing to go in the moment?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever it means to you.
Well, in the moment means being totally present. You don't think about anything else,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Well, and actually sometimes I do. I think like I'm in the moment. It usually it happens more often at family things, right? So we're at Thanksgiving or we're at Christmas or a birthday party or, some other holiday, and I'm just having such a good time, but at the same time I am thinking, one day so and so will not be here anymore. Cousin so and so will not be here anymore. I mean, I think about it, and it makes the moment even sweeter, but it also tends to make it it's bittersweet, because it means so much. Even just the little casual things. It's just another family get together. But you know what? At this time last year, Uncle so and so was here, and now he's gone. And that changes the mix, right? It's still great. We still have a wonderful time getting together. But remember when everybody was here? I think about that with church a lot, because my home church has changed a lot over the years. And, 20 years ago when Pastor Marshall was there, we just had such a good time, and there were so many more of us, and anything is cyclical. And over the years, many have fallen away and gone to other churches and whatever. And when I go now, I still have a great time, and we actually have a new pastor who's doing a very good job. But it's not the same. And, things change. So now I have totally gotten off the subject, but my point was, it also helps me, when somebody is just really annoying me, I think about, but there will be a time when they're not here.
Ooh.
And no. And you love this person. I'm talking about like my niece, for example, who I love dearly, who stayed with me on and off for over the last few years. And I would walk through the house and their things were everywhere, and they're invading my space, and I'd be thinking, oh. And then I would think, but one day she is not going to be here.
That kind of.
Yeah. Not just now she's out doing her own thing. And even though I don't miss my fridge being full of stuff that I don't eat, I do miss them being in the house. And I would use that when they were still there to keep me from totally knocking them out.
Well, maybe we should go into a gospel moment, Mel, and then we come back to the proposition.
Really? Need to go to, okay.
I don't know. I'm just saying. After that, because we all need to be spiritually healed right now.
Woody, take it away.